izinkan saya berbahasa Inggeris untuk kita bawakan pakar untuk memahami data dan situasi ini, and to help us gain a deeper understanding of how data impacts the working sector landscape and the scale of businesses' adoption of AI. I welcome you, Mr. Murugesan R. Tangaratam, the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder Novum CS. I want to say thank you very much, Muru, for joining us. From Randstad shows there is a stark contrast in AI usage between different generations. Gen Z and millennials are more significantly more likely to use AI tools frequently compared to Gen X and baby boomers. Firstly, how can organizations effectively identify breach of AI usage gap between different generations in the workplace, Muru?
Okay. Hi, morning, Dina. Thank you so much for having me here. Before I even start, I just want to quickly just dispel of two myths and also highlight one reality. AI is not going to replace human beings. Let me be very clear on that. AI is not going to transform a nation, but it is just a tool, nothing more, nothing less. I think Randstad's report it's not surprising for people in the industry. Obviously, the generational gap will obviously be there. I think, in terms of having strategies, I think many organizations, even the government, is now looking at strategies at the moment. But there's a difference between having a strategy and actually being prepared. There is actually another report from Cisco last year, which actually highlighted that in terms of preparedness level, Malaysia is only at 13%, which is pretty low. So I think one of the ways in which organizations can actually address this gap is, I think number one, there's not enough discourse or not enough discussion between the various stakeholders of an organization. When I say an organization, we can also obviously extend this to government agencies and governments, because so we're looking at private and public sector. I think we need to first of all bridge the gap between the expectations, or manage the expectations between the consumer, the regulator, the industry, and also the investors. Okay, so I think that's where the gap is. And also, obviously, from a regulatory point of view, the gaps on security, which I may expand later. From the consumer point of view, is typically at the tip of everyone's mind is cost. How costly is it going to be for me to adopt AI or to bring in AI into my system? From an investor's point of view, obviously, what is the ROI if I do invest in AI? Because obviously, I mean, we have to address the fact that nothing comes free. And from I think from the industry point of view, the industry also needs to understand whether the market is ready. So I think this has been a perennial problem. If you look at technology is always these four pillars. It's people, process, governance, and technology. Currently, it's all very tech-centric. So there's a lot of technology out there. People get sometimes confused. They get drowned in this entire technology play. But we need to address the people. People need to start understanding what AI brings to them, how they can benefit from AI, use it as a tool to accelerate your growth, and processes. There must be proper processes in place. So obviously, for an organization, you don't want to be having an organization where everybody is just looking for an easy way out. For example, using a ChatGPT or what they call a BART or something like that. One of the platforms that are available today, which may be done at the expense of reducing creative thinking in the human mind. Mm-hmm. So we need to have so balancing it is it's a very, very tough thing. So I think that's one of the things that needs to be addressed. And from the governance part, we can already see, that AI is a double-edged sword. It can be used for good. It can also be used for bad. Mm-hmm. And the irony of the matter is the threat actors or the people who actually use it for bad seem to have accepted AI more readily than the people who actually use it for good. So that's the sad part about it. So, deep fakes and, now with cyberbullying going on and the number of cyber attacks that we've been having, most of these attacks are all now generated by AI. It's no more human or manual involvement when it comes to cyber attacks. So I think that is the gap that we need to address. There needs to be more dialogue. There needs to be more, I think, a more centralized way of looking at things. Currently, as far as the AI agenda is concerned in Malaysia, there seems to be some element of silo. So different agencies, doing different things. people are still not aware of, how do I adapt to this? Who do I talk to? Is there somebody to advise me? Having said that, I'm sure you are, there may be people who are not aware, but the government launched the AI for Rakyat under the My Digital Corp back in January, and I think it was at that time it was launched under the Ministry of Economy. Now it's parked under the Ministry of Digital under YBN Gobin. So this is an open to all Malaysian for free platform. Okay, and it's provided in 4 languages. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, BM, English, Mandarin, and Tamil. And it's got 2 modules called AI Aware and AI Appreciate. It's a flexible self-learning approach, and you can, depending on your speed, depending on the level that you are, you can complete it, between an hour to maybe 4 hours. It all depends on where you are in your maturity as far as AI is concerned. And you actually get a badge after that. You get 2 badges. If you complete AI Aware, you get a badge, and you have AI Appreciate, you get a badge. And this is free. So I think these are some of the things where the government is taking the initiative. Maybe there should be more awareness about it, more outreach about it. So I think that's very key. So people need to understand first before you actually ask them to use technology. So I think that's the main gap, both at the organizational and a general public level.
All right, you have just shared with us on the current state of AI utilization and workforce readiness, which you mentioned at around level of 30%. And one of the major concerns for businesses is cost. They will take a look at the costs associated with implementing AI technologies, impact the overall budget and financial stability of a business. We want to touch on the level of costs first. Firstly, should they look at the hidden costs, or are there even hidden costs that are often overlooked?
Okay, so cost, obviously, if you're talking, there are open source platforms which are free to use. So, that's not going to cost you much. But using open source, the other side of it is it's from a point of security. So once you use an open source platform where you just use it for free, obviously, the control factor is not there, and security is even though the providers or the platform owners tend to promise you a level of security, but the suspicion or the uncomfortable feeling is always there, especially when you're running an organization and you're dealing with business, with finances, and you owe your shareholders, you owe your employees to make sure that everything is in place and everything is secure. So there is that element of it. The other element, of course, is obviously the human capital part of it. There are not many people out there who actually understand AI and know how to actually use it to the benefit of the organization. No organization is the same. Every industry has got its own unique problems and its own unique challenges. So whatever AI you're using, it should be able to address that challenges. There's no one shoe fits all. Mm-hmm. So in order to do that, you need to actually understand the technology. You need to understand the industry. So I think this is lacking. I think from the industry, many people are out there selling products, pushing technology, but they are not able to do a proper modeling, as in, from what I said earlier, how does this, using this AI or using this technology now, translate into benefit for the shareholders, for the consumer, for the investor, and at the same time, also making sure that you fall within the regulatory framework. So I think for that, you need to have some kind of expertise. So this is where I think the cost part, to get to the readiness level, there needs to be some investment from the companies to actually understand where they stand now. So you may need to hire, for example, an external consultant. So again, depending on the size of organization, you may hire the big fours, but if you're a small organization, you need to have a different avenue. So I think that's one hidden cost which a lot of people don't realize. The technology is pretty straightforward. So you've got your open source, and you've also got paid technology. So it all depends on what your budget is, what your appetite is, and then you go in there and you actually pay for it. And these are mostly subscription based, and you actually go on to the technology. But when it comes to the human capital, having the expertise, hiring the people, I think that's a major gap, and something I think even the government has been saying quite a bit in a number of forums.
All right, Muru, I also want to touch on the level of talking about AI in the aspects of data security. Let's recap back what was happened last Friday. IT outage hits businesses worldwide, disruption triggered by CrowdStrike software update. And from these situations, what has become the security and privacy concerns related to AI implementation, and how can businesses address these concerns while adopting AI solutions?
Okay, so good question. I think, to be fair, nations worldwide are now grappling with this issue. I think AI is something that is, everyone is now just, AI has been around for a long time, but what we are talking about is now already generative AI. People actually are trying to see, okay, how do we now regulate this thing? The challenges with AI and technology is there's no borders. And also, you cannot define a border. There's no perimeter and say that this is my space and you can't encroach this. So because you're sitting down here today and you're able to access information globally. So there's no border. The incident that happened on Friday is a wake-up call, not so much from the AI angle, but more towards the governance and the processes that are put in place before anything is rolled out to a customer. So I think one of the reasons, to be fair, most software providers, I mean, all software providers today are not regulated as such. So it's all at the moment, go to market, speed to market, and market share. So I think this is where you need to have a regulation. Malaysia is now currently under the Ministry of Science and Technology drafting the AI framework and ethics, which would be the precursor to finally having an AI Act. I think we are still far off, but EU, the European Union is leading on this. They have just got the final nod to come up with their AI Act, which should probably kick in as enforceable act in 2026. And the breach or the for someone breaching the AI Act, the fine is going to be 35 million euros or 7% of global revenue. So that's the kind of fine we are talking about to people who are actually producing AI technology.
Oh, that's quite a lot for 35 million euros. And I also want to touch on the aspect of this one thing that companies need to adopt AI, but there's also another area where companies integrating AI technologies within the existing business system. And we want to take a look at that part. What are some of the difficulties in integrating AI technologies with existing business systems and processes, and how can business ensure a seamless integration as what we can say, reform and adjust?
So again, you're talking about technological constraints. So we have an issue in Malaysia, and I'm sure it's not only Malaysia, but the other developing countries too, and also we are stuck with a lot of legacy systems. So there needs to be an upgrade of the legacy systems. We are stuck with, so many of the systems within organizations or within even government agencies, they are mostly in silo because all this was done as a piecemeal kind of implementation. So in order for you to actually have a seamless, AI structure within an organization, then you need to have, number one, structured data. Okay, so it shouldn't be fragmented and unstructured data. A lot of our data today is in silo. Okay, quick example: a private hospital in one state does not have or access to the data of a private hospital in the same state of another private hospital, but it's the same patient, it's the same person. So this is what ultimately is called master data management, where you actually have a unique code and you are able to access data across the board. So currently, a lot of data is all over the place. So when data is all over the place, what tends to happen is, to put it very bluntly, rubbish in, rubbish out. Okay, so I think that's one of the technological constraints. People need to actually, the most simplest thing to do is to actually find out where your current state is, which surprisingly sounds very easy, but many people don't tend to do that. They get very, very excited or sold in by this whole technology thing. They need to find out, first of all, where they stand, what they have, can this fit important thing about technology, it has to be scalable. When I mean scalable, invest in something today that does not become redundant in 2 years' time. Okay, so you have to make sure you are very, very clear with that. So that's important. Then you need to have a proper what you call privacy and security process in place, governance process in place, because you are now going to use technology that is outside your environment, which can be accessed if it's not properly managed. And obviously, there will also be certain cultural resistance, so within an organization, and people thinking that they're going to be replaced by, but I think that's a bit too far-fetched. You're not going to actually be replaced by AI.
All right, I want to say thank you very much to Murugesan R. Tanggaratnam, the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of MCS, for this insightful sharing and helping us understand the current state of AI utilization and its implications for workforce readiness and business efficiency. Definitely all of our discussion here will be featured in AstroAwani.com and across all social media platforms. And that's it for me. I'm Nina Rosman. Catch you on the next.